small roofing projects that we don't break out. So we try to break out all the large ones, but not all the small ones.
And I also want to kind of remind, John, each and every one of these projects was a $250,000 construction project, each one of them. You know, or maybe it's $150,000 construction project. Each of those, their own separate PO. What you're seeing right now is a conglomeration of 15 different POs into one agenda item. When we're done with this, if the board approves it, if you guys approve it, we're going to have to go up with Mark and do 15 different updates to the PO, like $10,000. Keeping in mind that these projects, the security projects that Leanne's referring to, none of our security projects are really over $200,000. And in fact, I mentioned to you previously, that $200,000 that those contracts are consists of 3 different vendors, often cameras, card readers, fence, maybe something else. It's not a lot. So do we really want to have a $50,000 contract, a $70,000 contract, and a $30,000 contract? Each coming through every time, as Leanne said, it would be in a very drawn out process.
Yeah, I don't think I'm suggesting that. Just what's making me the most uncomfortable here is approving this amendment to a project I know nothing about. That's what bothers me. And you're saying that these 200 or 300 security projects, none of them had a change order or any kind of reconciliation at the end, or we would have seen it.
No. Let me start all over again. Normally our security projects, sorry, I'm going to have to get into the weeds now. Our security projects are normally handled internally. One staff member has 3 contracts or 4 contracts for different services that need to be done at a given school. Right?
Okay, forget the security project.
Yeah.
Let's go with one that's in that CM that you've awarded, a task order to one of your CMs. Mm-hmm. They've all come out with no changes on them because we've never seen them, I don't think, but I can recall. Yeah,
you would see a change order to that $800,000 stair project.
Yeah.
You would see a change order on the change order log. You wouldn't see the original contract.
Yeah, I don't know. That's my thoughts.
Okay. In progress FCA work. Do you just want to hold that off until next time, or you think you can do it with the? Okay.
David, if I can chime in here.
Michael. Yes.
I have a concern over these security projects also, a little bit different. And I understand the desire not to have public all of the security strategies and all, but significant amount of money is being spent, and there's very little oversight as to how this relates to goals that are set realistically. And I know that, in many contexts, labeling something as security automatically makes it untouchable. And I don't know how to realistically approach this, because now it's being done in this incremental fashion, which escapes oversight, as well as the broad-based perspective of, is what is being done reasonable under the circumstances? And we're just asked, in essence, to trust, but the purpose of oversight is to, even with staff having the best of intentions, the necessity to have an independent perspective.
Well, Mr. Gelfand, I appreciate that perspective, but keep in mind, CORC's oversight is of construction projects. A lot of what we do isn't per se construction so much as term vendor, individual service work. Just like the maintenance department has term contracts that they oversee, you might view those as construction. we do not view them as construction. Security projects are overseen by both senior administration from facilities as well as school police. There's an ongoing, regular tracking meeting, if you will, to make sure we are keeping on track. We know where our scope is, and our vendors are the same vendors, our term vendors. So it's not like this is the first time. We've generally kept them at the same level, same prices. We know what those costs should be based on past experience and their term contracts. So a lot of these things aren't viewed as construction projects as much as they are term contracts to administer a single scope.
I appreciate that. This gets back to sometimes the perennial discussion we have of it's before us, but it's not really within CORC's purview. And my refrain is, if it's not part of CORC's purview, then take it off the agenda, and we don't provide our prompt or our seal of approval on it. Staff and the board needs to make a decision on it. If we are going to be reviewing, then we need to have the information. If there's a question of trust for us or a public visibility issue, then it doesn't come to us, period.
Yeah, this is David Porter. I'm in agreement with that, and I think maybe the only reason we're seeing this security project is because you tried the method of going through a CM that didn't work out as well as you had hoped, and that if you hadn't tried that method, we wouldn't be talking about this because it would have gone through the security term vendors, and that's not something that comes before CORC.
That is correct.
Yes, Mr. Dolan, that you withdraw this proposal from CORC before we vote on it.
Okay, I appreciate your suggestion, but I respectfully decline at this point. I think it's an important item that needs to go forward. And the argument that is being made is about the system and not about the individual item. The individual item is a contractor, did work for the school district, and needs to be paid for it. And I don't want to delay that contractor from getting paid in fair and due time because of the systematic concerns that you and others may have.
I believe it was already voted on.
Yeah.
We voted on this one? So yeah, FC10.
Yes, you did.
No, PC10. Yeah, we did.
PC10, right. Yes, you're right, Virginia. Thank you.
Mr. Porter, may I add one more thing?
Yes, Jim.
It is still CORC's responsibility to review our change documents, and the security change orders, CCUAs, ACUAs, all of those are still under your purview and are coming to you. There are some in this batch even.
Right, and I think the point I just made was that we would not have normally seen this because it's security, and it was only because the attempt was made to go through a CM process instead of the previous process, which you're now going back to, which means we won't be seeing more security projects through a CM. Okay, we're going to move forward, and let's go back then to the agenda. In progress FCA work. Dave Dolan.
Chair, if I may, to reconsider that matter on the basis that if it's not part of CORC's purview, then we should not be moving it forward. If it is, then we should be having the information. I'm not trying to delay anyone's payment under the logic that's been provided. There's no reason to hold up payment because CORC should not be an impediment to this.
So you're making a motion to reconsider?
Correct.
Do I have a second of the voting members to reconsider? And I'll poll. John? John says no. Lou? No. Steve? No. And I'm saying no. Sorry, Michael. Motion fails.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Dolan, on to you for updates. So,
Okay, hopefully everybody can see on the screen. I tried to make this, I know it's not terribly big, so I apologize. Okay, here's, that's going to mess up the whole, it doesn't really work that way because it'll end up messing up the views on it. Yeah. Okay. Again, I apologize, but if you can't see it, this is available to you on the CORC website, or if it's not, it will be any second. This is our monthly update of how much sales tax has been accrued, how much we've committed to these projects, and how much we've expended, as well as a true accounting through our B2G on the actual percentages of diversity participation for both designers at 51% and contractors at 28%. The next two slides are, again, these are meant for you as CORC members, not for the general public so much. These slides are representative of the projects that are coming up, the AE selections, solicitations and awards. And you'll notice the first three columns, it says planned award for AE and planned award for pre-con. That's why I'm saying it's for you guys. I need you guys to know that these are the projects that are coming up. So if you notice, there's a whole bunch of design in March on this first slide. On the second column. On the third column, you got a bunch in April for the CMs. So next month, you're going to see a whole lot of pre-cons for all of the same projects that you just saw the design for this month. And again, John, we added the dollar values in to kind of give that idea. And then you'll see that we've got a couple of designs in April, a couple more, their pre-cons are in May, and then a couple transportation projects, a couple of facility renewal projects that we're packaging together, and then the Roosevelt Full Service and Timber Trace are both going to be going later this year. The upcoming GMPs, again, I want to keep you guys aware of things that are coming. In the next coming months, and I think the Boca 05C might push it into May, we've got our Delray Full Service project, which is finishing bidding, and the GMP is getting prepared right now. Same thing with the O, the new high school. And the 05C Boca Elementary School. We're getting at the finish line where we're going to be bringing GMPs to you very shortly. The expectation is Boca is going to be built over a 12-month period, so we really do need to start it in May or June. Lakeworth High is going to be a 24-month project, but also Delray Full Service. The complete project will be about a year project from starting June to ending in June. Development activities. As you can see, A through J are all the projects you saw this month. Design services for Malaluca have been selected. I could be wrong on that. Let me hold back on that. Del Prat, it's not. It is. Okay. I did get confirmation. It has been selected. So these are planned for April. A couple of core expansions. Roosevelt, as I said, design services pending. We got our Castaldi approval. We're going through spot survey. I think we actually may have just gotten our spot survey approval. And again, when I say we may have, normally I'm much better at this stuff. I am just coming off of a week vacation, so the things that are usually front and foremost in my mind aren't necessarily there right now, so I apologize for maybe missing some of these things. The transportation projects, as I said, we're going to advertise in May, award in August. Design, West Tech, it's March 22nd. I'm pretty sure we have our NTP and our construction is underway out at West Tech already. As I said, Del Rey and Triple O, we will start those this summer, as well as O5C. That we have the new Boynton Middle School, 17 double P. That design continues. I think that's construction in late 2021. Okay, I'm not going to go through these in any detail, but these are the FCAs, the facility renewal projects that we've been working on. The teams have. There's a number of high schools: Palm Beach Lakes, Spanish River, and Wellington. A couple of progress photos. The Wellington High School press box for the stadium code requirement. Light fixtures at Palm Beach Lakes High School being replaced out. Spady Shade Structures, that's a nice little project that benefits their educational process. They're actually using these as outdoor classrooms. Okay, now on to the bigger things. We only have a couple minutes left on this. Washington Elementary modernization, well underway. You've seen the photos. The underground FP&L and AT&T are complete. The transformer's been set. Power in sometime in March. Wall framing is complete. Drywall is finished or nearing completion, and painting. I'm fogging up my glasses. Okay. Well, it's starting to take better shape. You can see the two buildings, the two little buildings are the existing buildings that have been renovated, and the big letter C is the new construction. A couple of the interior photos. I think as we're getting close to completion of construction for both Washington and Addison Meisner, we're going to provide a lot more interior photos on your monthly updates. So as we're going to be done with this by June, I'd probably say next month and in the month of May, we'll have a lot more detailed photos that everybody will appreciate what's going on inside. Addison Meisner, same place, same project manager. Moving both of them along very well. Angel's doing a great job on these. Addison Meisner has some tricky parts. We're working on, we're going to be starting up perimeter wall installation around the perimeter of the site. This is both Washington and Addison Meisner should be complete by June, so that we can do all the move-ins and furniture and all that stuff, and make sure it's operational for an August move-in. Okay, Plymouth School of the Arts. Some improvements. Roofing work is in progress. Window frame installation. Interior framing is underway. We have roof on the second story building. And there's some of our framing and infrastructure in place. Modular classrooms. The Jupiter High School. The modular classroom project is now done. I don't want to go out on a limb, but Angel told me that over spring break, they were going to do the walkway cover lighting and the fire alarm. and programming over the spring break. So knock on wood, it should be done. So now that project is fully complete. And the ag program, remember we put the modular classrooms where the ag program used to be, where all the vegetation was cultivated and sold. We have to move that, and that's what's in process now. We should have a GMP tentatively scheduled for April. The 26 classrooms was, I want to say it was 600 extra students. I think with this is at 31. It is. It's the second most crowded high school. And Deborah Kornman's going to chime in and tell me that I'm wrong, that it's the third or something. But it's one of the top 2 or 3 most overcrowded.
The Lake Worth High School is in that phase. The new one that built it.
2,600. Again, Angel, do you want to pipe up on the number of students for the O high school? I say 26, but I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, David, there were 26 modular classrooms added to Jupiter High School.
Oh no, O high school is 2,600 students. Is that the?
I believe I think it's 2,500 students is what it is for
2,500.
Yes.
So and yes, Mr. Doctor, there will be a boundary adjustment. I guess kind of to fill that school to accommodate those students. Okay, this is what I was talking about earlier. Jim wasn't getting enough love in this presentation because Jim does a whole lot of work. He's got a lot of minor projects, and they really do a ton of work. And we weren't showing you any of that stuff, but figured we want to start making sure we do a more comprehensive list of some of the bigger things that the team is working on. You can see down there in the middle, Jupiter Elementary, there are 3 modular classrooms being added there because that is one of the most overcrowded elementary schools. It's a very popular school. It's done very well academically. And I think even the 3 modulars are not enough for that school. So good to see the flammable storage units at Lake Worth and John I, which were code CSIR issues. And I think that's it. Sure.
The new middle school.
Yes.
Next to the sunset element. Do you know if there's going to be a sharing of the athletic fields yet? Between the park and
Please repeat the question.
At this time, I'm sorry, the question was the 17 PP Middle School, which is a Boynton Middle School, that's going to be situated on the same property adjacent to Sunset Palms Elementary. There is a new park that the county is building, Canyons District Park, just behind it, with the road that runs through it, Abruzzo Road. The question was, will the middle school share fields with the county? And at this point, our design does not require use of any of the county fields. We are still in discussions with the county, and we're hoping that things work out, that they perhaps can build a track on their property that our school would be able to use, a full-size track. We are going to have track amenities, but not a full-size track on the site. We will have a baseball, softball, basketball, tennis. Again, it's something that we are working on right now with the county parks department. Good news, John, is I know a bunch of those guys, right? So we are working with them to try to set up the possibility of them being able to use our facilities at nights or on weekends, that kind of thing. So we are still in discussions with that. Absolutely, I understand. And we want to be good neighbors, good partners with them.
I was here last week on Sunday and I never saw so many kids playing soccer.
Yeah.
There's over 100 kids playing soccer and the cars are everywhere.
Yeah.
So the new fields in the park will, free soccer.
Yep. And the area that we're looking for them to find out if they can do so is build a track with a soccer field in the middle of it. Big soccer or football type field in the middle of it. And it would be directly adjacent to us. So the road really wouldn't be a problem because it would be after hours, it'd be controlled crossings, that kind of thing. So,
David, if you could just tell me, because I've just never heard the term stairway nosing. What is that?
I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
Stairway nosing. Is that near the bottom of the list?
Stairway nosing. Jim, I'd like to have you respond to that if you wouldn't mind. Give an explanation.
Yeah. Absolutely. So you may recall that as you're using stairways in institutional buildings that there's a metal plate right at the tip of the tread that you stand on and rise up. So in this case, the tread, that little metal tread, is called a nosing, and it's separating from the concrete of the stair, becoming a tripping hazard. That's how it got cited.
Thank you.
Dave, a question I have for you on the GMP prices you're seeing coming in lately. We're going through price increases at a pretty steep clip.
Can't say that we've seen GMPs in the last couple of months.
Oh, okay. So we don't know yet.
The last GMP we saw, or we brought it to you, was back in November, October, November.
Okay.
We do expect the GMPs. If you'll afford me the opportunity to research it further, because I'd want to get back with Virgil, Angel, because those are the guys that are working on 05C, O High School. I want to see where those are coming in.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, my recollection was Angel opened bids the other day, and this was just, again, I'm really kind of asleep. His bid opening, they were very comfortable that they were coming in on price with all their sub bids. Angel, did you want to speak to that at all?
Yeah, we had the bid opening I want to say the Friday before spring break, and based on all the tabulations that were recorded at that bid opening, the project seems to be coming in within budget. We had no budget concerns there.
Good. That's not been my experience in the last 2 months out in the public world of construction.
I've been hearing that too.
A lot of material delays, a lot of long lead times, 28 weeks to get windows. Anything with aluminum in it has doubled in price. So I'm glad so far you haven't experienced that. Good.
To return to the meeting, press pound. To stop moderating, press 1. To unmute your line, press 2. To play back rough.
It's out vendors if they have too much work, or it's just a coincidence that a whole bunch of different vendors most of the work.
Yeah. Angel, you want to respond to that?
Dave, I wasn't able to hear the question.
I think that's a question. No, seriously, on a lot of the awards that are being approved today going forward for renovation work, it's split over a large number of vendors. A dozen vendors bid on almost every project, and there's quite a mix of vendors involved. Are any of them bid out based on the volume of work they're committed with the county or the district?
Yes, I'm sorry, Lou. I didn't understand. You're asking whether on all of our facility renewal projects, we're having 8, 10, 12 vendors, bidders that want the job. Are any of them dropping off because of the work? Is that
for the volume of work that they could be getting?
Well, yes. Well, let me answer it this way. some of the bidders that are on bids have dropped out because they've won one or won two or won a bid that had two schools in it. They'll drop out of the next ones. So we are seeing some signs that they're not full, but that they're moderating.
Okay, one last question. Based on where we are now and the work we're looking at now, the chances are we won't have any significant construction underway during the hurricane season?
No, I can't say that.
See, most of the renovations are interior work. The new schools may not be ready to break ground until the fall. The high school, the elementary.
Yeah, those schools have to be, like, for example, O5C Elementary School. I question why we have it in June right now. I think it needs to be in May because we really need it to be open by next June. So we needed to start construction in June this year and be open by next June so we can load it up and all the kids can go to that new Boca Elementary in August of 22, right? So we can't, I don't want to hear that H word. I know Miss Paul is on the call and I know she does not want to hear that H word either. We're starting work in June and we're going to work right on through on those new construction projects. We can't afford to not.
Lou, as I tell all my clients, because they all ask me, oh, you can't start hurricane season. I said, if contractors in South Florida didn't work through hurricane season, they'd be out of business.
Exactly.
We just know how to work during hurricane season because it's what we have to deal with.
We've been lucky the last couple of years. So.
Yeah. Okay, I want to keep us moving because we actually have about 10 minutes, 15 minutes before we have to extend the meeting. So I think that's it for Dave's follow-up. I don't see anybody else with questions. Approval of the minutes, that's a tough one because the last official minutes we had were 4 months ago. Anyone with issues on the minutes for whatever month they would have been for? But we didn't have official minutes last month. Yeah, 4 months ago was our last official meeting. So I'm going to pass by minutes because I don't think anybody remembers what we might have done 4 months ago to critique them.
Can I interject, please?
Yes, Jim.
Holly, we were directed, staff was directed to take notes, even though we didn't hardly do anything. Are we expecting our CORC members to vote on that, even though they weren't adjourned? I mean, they weren't called to order?
We didn't have a real meeting. How can we vote on something where we had no meeting?
No.
Well,
Patricia's
could vote on minutes that just said that the meeting was called to order, there was no quorum, and it was adjourned. I have a little bit of difficulty with approving quote notes unquotes, and I appreciate the work that went into these, but having recommendations and all of that placed in there when there really weren't recommendations made because we didn't have any discussion to vote.
Right, there was no meeting, so there's no minutes. So we don't have to worry about approving minutes for meetings that were not officially had.
Okay, then we're just going to leave them in CORC documents as unaddressed.
Yes, we're not going to address something that we had no official meeting at because then we're acknowledging somehow that we had an illegal official meeting.
Well, did we have November in here?
That's what I'm saying. It was probably 4 months ago. I don't know which ones might have been posted with our CORC agenda items.
November, December, January, and February.
We couldn't have had a February meeting. That was last month. Mm-hmm. We didn't have a meeting for 3 months.
Well, all the meeting notes say that the meeting was not able to be convened.
Okay. I'm going to pass by minutes. I'm making an executive order here. We're just going to pass by minutes because it's not worth reviewing something that we didn't have. And we're going to run out of time here. All right, we're down to 6.02 elections. We were required to have election of officers when we first were able to convene a meeting. I did get confirmation from legal that even an alternate is allowed to become nominated for an officer. So chair or vice chair. They don't have to be a primary member. I guess I found that to be a little unusual because an alternate wouldn't be able to run the meeting if the primary was here. But
I think the question of the alternate can run, they just can't vote. So there's no reason if you didn't vote yourself.
well, Ken's an alternate and Lou is the primary. Would Ken be allowed to run the meeting because he's basically here just as an alternate? Okay. All right, that's fine. All right, do I hear nominations for chair?
Mr. Porter for
Yes.
chair and Virginia for vice chair. And if they don't vote for it, we'll storm the Capitol.
All right, I have a nomination for chair and also for vice chair to make this fast. Porter for chair and Virginia Ferris for vice chair. Do I see any other nominations? Anyone else online that's allowed? Well, the only other voting member is Michael. Michael's already made the nomination. So anyone else in the room here have a difference of opinion or want to nominate somebody else?
God, no.
Seeing none, the nominations are closed. And do I hear a vote of the members? And I guess I'll have to poll you. John for chair and vice chair accepted?
Yes.
All right, Lou?
Yes.
Okay, Steve, he's nodding yes. Michael, you made the motion, so I would assume you're a yes on chair and vice chair.
Never assume, but I vote yes.
Okay. All right, then I campaigned hard. It cost me a lot of money, and I thank you all for the vote of confidence. Virginia, you are vice chair once again, and so we will carry forward. Review and set the agenda for next month. I don't think we've asked for anything specific right now to be discussed.
But we are carrying forward
Right.
the PPE scoring and the policy reviews.
Yes.
And then I had mentioned I will talk with Leanne offline to determine whether we want to come back and present to you guys either a form of or that presentation that Ms. Paul and Mr. Burke gave to the board.
Okay. Anything else by anyone? Yes, Steve.
The campus shelter is no longer on. Have they made provisions for third reading? Whether or not the family would camper, would it have to be
Steve, generally they have to be retracted, and maintenance department does have a contract with a vendor who, at the notification of a storm, is required to come out and disassemble all the shelters, all the canvas coverings.
I was just curious about that. And the second item is, my background is mechanical. And my question is, has the school board pursued, rebates on any of the mechanical equipment that has been in place through the
Excuse me, who is speaking?
That Steve needs. He's a new member of CORC. And we failed to introduce Steve, but we will do that in a second.
Let me know who appointed him, where he's from.
Yes, we will in 1 second here. Let Dave respond to his question.
Can we get the question also?
We can't hear him.
I need the question that was asked.
Yeah, Steve, are you on your phone? Then speak into your phone if you're connected to the meeting.
Steve had basically asked if we had applied for any rebates through FP&L for the mechanical equipment that we've been putting in. It's an extensive answer. Right now, the answer is really no, because there haven't been any qualified rebates worthy of the effort. But it's not to say that we don't always look at it. And our mechanical consultants are usually the ones who are pushing us for it.
Well, even the new schools like down there at Edson Meisner, once it's up and running, we're entitled to a rebate.
And the new schools are a different animal. We are certainly looking to do that. And I think we've already done so with Bertie, but I don't want to say that with absolute certainty. Glenn knows better. So I will get back with you if you'll afford me that opportunity. But the new schools are a different animal. The facility renewals, which is most of the, Steve, I'm sorry, I didn't really kind of give the description. We're spending about $1 billion doing facility renewals. We're spending about $400 million on the new schools. So most of the work we're doing is on facility renewals. A lot of times I go to that mindset. And those facility renewals where we're replaced to have an air handler, it's really not any value to us. It's more cost and effort to get it than to apply for it.
Dave,
Well, I understand.
if I can chime in for just a second, we are getting refunds, rebates in from different air conditioning companies. I think they're doing a lot of the filing, and those have been coming in regularly. There was a lot that came in last month. So I think most of the air conditioning work, when it's chiller replacement, that's running through maintenance and through their normal process, and those rebates are coming in.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I said it's a lot more complicated. There are some points. But new construction, let me get back to you on exactly what we're looking for.
Perfect. So Dave, the question I've got on what Steve says about the canvas covering. So are these for outdoor play shelters? Have we switched from our normal steel frame outdoor shelters that we were building? And now we're doing canvas?
Well, yeah. I'm only speaking from my 3 years of experience here. All the ones we build now are fabric. Like shade structures.
Yeah, I'd like you guys to come back at a future meeting with telling us how that's better than the steel structures we've had, because the steel structures were basically a rigid steel frame building with no walls. They are not going anywhere in a hurricane. You're also not going to have to rely on some service that may just run out of people in time to get all your cloth structures down. And now we have replacement issues. And then we don't have shade structures until there's enough fabric around after a hurricane.
We've actually experienced this. We have our own staff going out and off the truck when the particular vendors may not be able to make it to make sure that our things down. But yeah, I appreciate but the cost is dramatically more. So if we're building a new school, we're not doing fabric.
Okay.
Most of these ones we're talking about are Jim gets a minor project in a school who pays $35,000 or $40,000 to put a shade structure over the playground. That's going to be a fabric one because that's all we can afford for $35,000.
Okay. All right. To the CORC members, I will introduce the newest member we have, Steve Needs. I'll give him a brief bio, then he can give his own. Steve was with the school district in the building department for a while, a long time. Mechanical services is his specialty, and I'll let him elaborate on that. I was on a building code committee with Steve for a few years that was a waiver committee, and he's now retired, and Erica Whitfield appointed him to fill in her slot that had been with Alan Gast, contractor who had been on CORC. And so now Steve is our newest member. Go ahead, Steve, introduce. Give us any more that I missed.
Well, I worked for the school district for 32 years with the maintenance department, really. And I wrote the original construction documents that we use, the district standards. And I've also written many bids, been a project manager for maintenance and just about anything related to construction, even a commissioning agent, which was really fun. And was able to work with the contractors and the maintenance personnel and coordinate all the efforts between them. And ultimately, we came out with some very, very nice schools, and we got high standards. And many times we were first in the state to achieve the new requirements. So it's been a fun ride, and I'm glad to be back again.
I look forward to your service. Thank you.
Exactly, Steve. We really do. We look forward to your insights.
Thank you.
Okay. We are out of time, so I'm going to say we are adjourned, and we'll catch up next month. Goodbye, everyone.
Take care.
Thank you very much. One of the things is, as we move forward, Jim or David, if there can be some testing before the meeting begins with turning on and off microphones and speakers so that we can.
Yes, Mr. Gelfand, your good point. In the future, we will absolutely make that comment about putting you on mute when you're not talking and that whole thing.
Yeah, I've done a lot of these hybrid meetings, and sometimes it helps getting that taken care of up front. Folks need to be trained on how to turn on and off their microphones so we can hear people who are commenting. That'd be very helpful. I'd appreciate that.
Absolutely, sir. We will certainly do that. And hopefully, as Mr. Porter mentioned, by next month, we will have the Wi-Fi in a better place where we will be able to say to everybody, okay, now you're working on your computers. Make sure you know how to do it. Let's go through the details with 10 minutes before the meeting instead of 30 minutes into the meeting kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for your assistance. Take care.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye, guys.
Happy Easter, happy Passover, everyone.
Happy holidays, all.